Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm going to show you how to use whether or not in a sentence. So we're going to look today at using whether or not to express an alternative condition. So our words are whether or not, and the rule is we use whether or not plus a verb phrase, or we can use whether plus a verb phrase plus or not. Let's take a look at our first example. I wonder whether or not dogs like cats. So here I've got whether or not plus my verb phrase. My verb phrase is subject, dogs, verb, like, and object, cats. Now I can also express this using this structure. I wonder whether dogs like cats or not. So in between whether or not, I've got my verb phrase. And I use either of these structures to express an alternative condition. I don't know, dogs might like cats, they might not like cats. I don't know. This is why I use whether or not. Okay, let's take a look at our second example. Researchers question whether or not boys will outgrow bad behavior. So here's my structure, whether or not, and then I've got my verb phrase, which is boys subject, will outgrow is my verb, and bad behavior is my object. So I can use the alternative structure. Researchers question whether boys will outgrow bad behavior or not. All right, so I can split up whether or not and insert my verb phrase in the middle. Either of these structures would be correct. Let's take a look at the third example. A new blood test that identifies whether or not an athlete has suffered a concussion has been developed. Whether or not, and here's my verb phrase. An athlete has suffered concussion. Subject, verb, object. Or I can say, a new blood test that identifies whether an athlete has suffered concussion or not has been developed. So I've got whether, verb phrase, and or not. And I'm using this because I don't know what the condition is. I don't know whether the athlete has suffered a concussion or whether they have not suffered a concussion. Okay, that's why the blood test has been developed. Let's recap. Our words and rules were whether or not, and we learned that we can look at them, we can use them, in a sentence by whether plus verb phrase or not, or whether or not plus verb phrase to express alternative conditions. Okay, so using either or both of these structures, write your own example sentences in the comments below. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.